Right, welcome along. If you are a subscriber on YouTube, you will have had a notification that we are now live. If you didn't get a notification, that means you're not subscribed. And what on earth are you doing about that? So please do head down below, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification. It tells you when we are up and running with our show each and every Sunday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. GMT. Just to let you know, we usually do this little bit of a preamble to let everyone get settled, technically, and also on YouTube, so you can get your questions in order, especially when it comes to the Q&A. So do jump on the Q&A, anything that you want to talk about in the world of cons generally, and also if you're attending New York Comic Con next weekend, anything that you'd like to put to our special guests. I also want to put out there as well that usually at the end of the show, I do a post-con after party, as it were, on our Patreon page. We're going to have to hold off on that one this week because my better half, my infinitely better half, is on her way back from Cardiff, and she'll be arriving about half an hour after the show finishes. So I've got to go and pick her up. So unfortunately, no post-con, no post-show after party today. But hopefully I'll be doing something in the next couple of days to give you an update of what's happening, certainly with the new website, which will be a little bit delayed thanks to a couple of technical and health issues. But as soon as everything's in place, we'll kind of move forward, and I will let you know. If you are certainly a Patreon supporter, you will get a notification of when we'll be doing that show. Right, we have a number of people in the chat already. Welcome along, everyone. If there's anybody who wants to sound out, say hi where you're coming from. We've got Dan Berry in there. We've got Sarita P. Andrew English is saying hi, working on Dragon Con pictures. We've got Aaron Neighbors saying hi from San Diego. Everything's kind of in place. Everyone's getting settled. So that's good. The other thing that you can also do is if you don't fancy looking at my ugly mug for an hour, of course, you can listen on mixler.com/EnglishmanSDCC. Subscribe on there as well, because you'll get a notification when we are going live. So please do jump in on that. Right. Speaking of which, I'm going to hit start on that and get on with the show proper. So live on mixler.com/EnglishmanSDCC. Welcome to Talkin Con, a cup of tea with an Englishman in San Diego. My name's Leonard Sultana, and each and every week we talk Comic-Cons, con culture, and all the stuff and nonsense that goes off around it. We often get ourselves some fantastic guests, and we've got two very special guests who are joining us to talk about New York Comic Con, and we'll dive into that very shortly indeed. But first things first, just to remind you, of course, if there's anything you want to talk about on the show, jump in on the Q&A or jump on Twitter using the hashtag CupOT. AEISD. I know it's a little bit of a change from what we usually use, but it gives us a way of getting all of our questions in on today's show. And of course, if there's any way that you want to support us, please head to patreon.com/EnglishmanSDCC. Joined today by a face is good to see, a familiar face, which is great to have back. We have Alyssa Franks joining us from the Friends of Comic Con Forum. Hello, Alyssa. How are you?
Incredibly busy. As I said earlier, my mind is full of server admin and networking minutia. I am flat out, but really enjoying taking a break and thinking about New York Comic Con, which I unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to go to. I am so jealous of everybody who's able to go. So
this is what happens when you fly or now set up stakes on the other side of the country, of course.
Exactly. But you know, hopefully you guys won't have to sweep water puddles this year. I'm hoping the weather is good for the weekend. That's my big thing. I have to say it's like in the mid 70s and really sunny here. So not to rub it in or anything.
Hey, well, so you know what? I know we always said that, but considering that we've got somebody who is joining us al fresco today, I don't think it's actually that bad where Mike is either. First things first, we've got Mike Armstrong from ReedPOP and from New York Comic Con joining us. Hello, Mike. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Not too bad at all. It's good to have you joining us. We have got plenty of questions for you, but we'll try our best not to overload you today. But it's great to have you joining us. Yeah, how's things been with you since the last time we spoke? Because ReedPOP and all the shows that have been going on with the company have been going on the up and up. Obviously, with Comic Con Africa, that was a massive success, and all the other shows that have been going on. What's been happening with you?
Well, I guess the last time we saw each other was in MCM in October, so it has been a while. Things have been good. You know, we had a good run of spring shows. Emerald City and C2E2 were both great. We've overloaded ourselves a bit recently with the launch of Keystone Comic Con 3 weeks ago, and having New York Comic Con coming up this week, plus launching an Anime Fest event with Anime Expo. So we have not done ourselves any favors in terms of work-life balance, but I hope Fallon is also enjoying the last weekend of sanity before we get to New York. But I think I've always said that the 3 or 4 months before New York Comic Con are just insane and very grueling, but there comes a time leading up to the show where it's just like, all right, everything's done, it is what it is, and now we're going to get to go on site and see everybody, and that's what's exciting for us.
I did quite like the comment that Fallon made before we just came on air, that this is her chance to get home, get herself sorted, and get packed. It's great that she leaves it as last minute as the rest of us do. Yay! So it's good to have that happen. Let's introduce somebody who hasn't been on the Hangout before, so it's a pleasure to meet Fallon Principelli. How are you, Fallon?
Hi, I'm good. Like you said, just enjoying the day and trying to get packed before I leave. I actually work on our show's Book Expo and BookCon as well, so I'll be going to Frankfurt, Germany on a red-eye right after New York Comic Con. So it's going to be a crazy 2 weeks coming up.
How on earth you guys do it? It's just insane. But it's great. It's fantastic that you put the effort in and make all these events as enjoyable as they are for us, and we really do appreciate it. So thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
We appreciate you guys.
Hey, listen, it goes both ways, absolutely. So we're going to get into New York Comic Con straight away. Let's get into this, and also a couple of the questions that have already come in from one or two people. Certainly when it comes to I mean, I'll do the first section we've got on our little script here, and we worked through certainly when it comes to the interaction with the show. And I think the first one is badge collection and how people have been getting their badges. Obviously, the majority have been mailed out. One or two people have not been receiving their badges. We have had a question about those people that haven't got their badges yet. We are 3 days away. Can we quickly talk about the best process for those people on getting on site in New York, please?
I'll take
that. Yeah, go
so yeah, we make over, I think, like 150,000 badge shipments from when badges go on sale to when we get to the show. So we work with a warehouse and a mailing center that is great, but we overload them more than a little bit. So things were going out as of Friday via priority mail. So hopefully everyone's going to have their stuff by Tuesday of this coming week. If not, then we encourage people to just go to registration when they get there to the will call lines, which will be very busy on Thursday, but will not be as busy on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because those tickets sold out before the mailing deadline. So I would encourage everybody to, if they haven't gotten anything, first email or call customer service just to let them know the situation, so they can mark the file and then get to the show on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and pick them up at will call.
Will call is also open on Tuesday and Wednesday. So if you have a Thursday badge that you want to pick up, we recommend coming on Tuesday and Wednesday.
I had an opportunity to have to call customer service and plan on it taking some time to get through. This was about, I don't know, 3 or 4 days ago. So it will be some time.
Yeah, they get a lot of calls.
And again, Tuesday and Wednesday, as Fallon said, that's, I think that's the key for the will call windows, because I know last year the lines outside were kind of, it was a big crowd. So do you have plans for that this year? I'm trying to be gentle here.
No, it's fine. Thursday is always intense because the people who bought Thursday tickets generally bought them after the mailing deadline, so they're all pickups. So yeah, we've got a plan in place. It's a little bit more efficient than last year, but yeah, it's going to take some time. So that's why we encourage people to come Tuesday and Wednesday.
Okay, but so it's like you say, though, there is the possibility that they will still be mailed. So if you are still waiting on your badge and you haven't received it yet, there is still a couple of days for those mail outs to go. So do keep your eye on your post box.
One thing I was told, sorry, is that if you had selected standard shipping, they would not have been mailed. This only, I think, Mike, and just to clarify, I think it only applies to the expedited shippings that would have gone out on Friday.
Yeah, the only thing, if you selected standard shipping, the only way you would have been able to do that is if it was before the ticket mailing deadline. So those badges would have gone out already. If you bought your tickets after the last 2 mailing deadlines, the only option was priority shipping. So as I said, those were going out as late as Thursday and Friday of last week with a 1 or 2 day turnaround on the ship. So yeah, hopefully we've got everybody's got the majority of people have their badges in hand come Tuesday or Wednesday.
Excellent stuff. And the on-site collection pickup, whereabouts is that located? For those who don't know,
that's in the Crystal Palace. So you're going for the blue entrances. That's where Will Call is, Exhibitor Reg, Pro pickup, all sorts of stuff. So go to the blue entrances at the Crystal Palace.
Excellent stuff. Right. Also, if you've been on the fan groups for New York Comic Con, you'll know that there's been plenty of badge swapping and people doing their best to get the best days that they want. That's mostly, I think, down to a lot of the panels that have been announced a little bit late in the day. And some people have been certainly questioning or concerned about the lateness of a number of the high-profile panels. I'm guessing this is something that you haven't really been able to avoid, certainly like the Doctor Who one.
Lateness in terms of the day or lateness in terms of announcement?
Lateness in terms of the announcement.
Yeah, I mean,
you go with what you've got, I suppose.
Yeah, I've been pushing for that to be announced for a few weeks, and Fallon's roommate James will attest that he gets an IM or a text from me every day saying, "Hey, when's BBC announcing?" But it's just a matter of dealing with the different studios and them fitting the announcements of New York Comic Con panels into their overall PR schedule. So there was a big announcement around Doctor Who, and they wanted to have that before they announced a New York Comic Con panel. So it's an inevitable thing when you're dealing with studios. I know I would imagine San Diego deals with it all the time. But yeah, as soon as we have things confirmed, we announce them. It's just a matter of getting them confirmed.
So there you go, everybody. If you were griping on the fan forums, you can stop laying the blame at ReedPOP and at New York Comic Con. Blame the Doctor. It's all her fault. Blame her. So yeah, I can appreciate that. It's all about just putting the ducks in a row. And certainly when it comes to this year's show, there's plenty to have been organised. So let's talk about the big changes for New York Comic Con. I know Alyssa's got a number of questions. Do you want to dive into yours first, Alyssa? Or
sure. I think a good place to start is James McNutty did a really good job with the panels last year. I just had a really good selection of panels. Is he overseeing the New York Comic Con this year? I think that's his last name.
Oh, McNerney? James?
Okay. Yep. Okay. Sorry. So is James doing the panels, overseeing the panels this year? Panel selections?
Yes, there's a full content team. So James works with Katie, who's also on our team, Katie Rourke. And then Brian McDonald works on studio content with Matt Wazowski. So it's a full team, but James is the content manager on the show.
So you've got this, basically you've got the same team from last year, because you guys did a great job in 2017 with the selection of panels, a lot of diversity panels, and I just kind of wanted to see if that was going to be going forward with with that same team. Great.
Absolutely. And thank you. I'll let him know.
Yeah, wonderful. Is there going to be any changes to the offsite, the Hammerstein entrances and exits, and what you can bring in and what you can't bring in, just to kind of go over the changes to the MSG and the Hammerstein? Do either of you guys want to take that and kind of give us an idea of what we can expect as fans?
Well, in terms of the issues that came out of the Talkback panel last year, we're still working with both venues actually to get what we want. It's taken a little bit of time. In terms of entrance and exit, just security-wise, yeah, it's all the same. We made a big investment in security overall last year, and we're continuing to make that big investment this year. So the kind of in and out will be the same. What you can or can't bring in is still kind of being negotiated right now.
Good luck with that. So food at MSG, are we still going to expect hot dogs and candy?
Yeah, essentially, yeah. They, it's not, the interesting thing about dealing with both the Hammerstein and MSG is that this is not a traditional event for them. They're used to putting concerts on or, stage production. So, our audience doesn't drink the way that a building needs people to drink in order for a building like them to make money. It's an interesting, economic situation for them. So they do what they can in order to keep it financially viable for them. But we work with them to lean up or ease up on our attendees as much as possible.
Yeah, I think the thing that surprised me most was the Sharpies at the lack of Sharpies and umbrellas at the Hammerstein. The Hammerstein with dealing. Yeah, I sympathize with their position. It's an old venue that they want to preserve. However, our crowd is different than most of the crowds they get. Have they been receptive to changes?
No comment.
Sorry to put you on the spot there, Mike.
It's okay. It's all right. Yeah, it's an old building. It's a different audience, but there are still some hooligans at New York Comic Con. So, we will continue to get away with what we can.
It's actually a question that was going to come up a little bit later, but it fits in nicely with this the topic. Someone was asking about the possibility of an attempt to standardize the security rules between the two different sites. I'm guessing that's just simply not possible, what with the two administrations not communicating as such between each other. It's something too difficult. Staying hydrated at Comic-Con is important. So going to Hammerstein or Madison Square Garden for the first time and being told that you can't enter with a water bottle is a little unusual, was the comment that came in. I'm guessing that it's just something that it's one of these things that you have to kind of, the hurdles that you have to put in to jump through with dealing with these venues.
Yeah, they're their own venues with their own rules and their own way of doing things, and both of them are very different to work with. And it's we, like I said, we continue to get away with what we can, but there's some things that we simply just can't push up back on too hardly, too hardly. I don't know.
Drink. We've got ourselves Super Catchick, who's saying on the Q&A. Just want to able to bring in a water bottle. I'll still buy beer, I promise.
Yes, she will.
Okay. Super Damien Shaw, thanks for negotiating at least. This information also doesn't seem to appear anywhere in the frequently asked questions, even though other specific rules about cosplay at MSG are detailed. So maybe that's something that could be addressed.
We can add that in. Yeah, we have them on the individual venue pages, but that's a good point about the overall Q&A for the show. So we'll make sure that gets added to tomorrow.
Excellent stuff. And Super Catchick is saying, as a smoker, having to throw my lighter away last year kind of stunk too. But that's something that I guarantee is a no. There's no discussion there. I think that's down to venue, and you can't skirt around that particular one.
Yeah, that's most venues these days.
Yeah, excellent stuff. Okay, any other questions, Alyssa?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I got a list of them.
Off you go.
So, a lot of people were talking about 3-day versus 4-day tickets. And the obvious reason was because of the restrictions in amount of people that could get into the Javits Center due to the construction. How is the construction coming along? Is the new Artist Alley, is the old Artist Alley area going to be available for 2019?
No. It's not ready for another 3 years if my timing is right. But I think we've been told that New York Comic Con 2021 or 2022, that building will be redone, and it'll be, I think, 6 floors. I don't want to put words in Javitz's mouth, but I think it's 6 floors of ballrooms, meeting room space, another space for an exhibit floor. So when we do get there, it's certainly very exciting, but it's not anytime soon.
So they're talking of a significant increase in square footage once it's all done.
Yep.
Very
much so.
Enough room to house New York Comic Con if it stays.
Yeah, I mean, it's called New York Comic Con for a reason. I don't think we're going anywhere anytime soon. And we'll continue our strategy of growing outside the building. There's a few new developments coming to Hudson Yards in 2019 that I'm excited for. And we'll continue to maintain Hammerstein and MSG and the loft spaces that we've taken over the past couple of years. But, it'll just give us more of an opportunity to grow and get more people access to the tickets that they want.
So kind of a follow-up to the building question. So how is the AC in the new autograph area going to hold up?
Oh God, so much better. So autographing is going to where Artist Alley was last year. So that's Hall 1E. And hopefully we're not dealing with 85 degrees in October like we were dealing with last year, because that, coupled with the amount of people in the building, killed the AC in 1E. Artist Alley is moving over to 1B, which is going to be a much airier, larger space that, yes, theoretically the AC will hold up just fine down there. It's the same as the Q Hall, and you know that we fit, I don't know, 12 to 15,000 people in the Q Hall every morning. So, the AC holds up then just fine. So hopefully the same thing.
That sounds wonderful. I was just wondering if the amount of people that go into the autograph area is comparable to the amount of people that were in Artist Alley last year. So, if that relationship, if we can make the relationship that if they beef up the AC in the new autograph area, that it should hold up to the amount of people who are going for autographs.
Yeah, I would suspect that at any given moment there are more people in Artist Alley than in autographing. I mean, consider the 425 artists. Most of them have a handler, so you're close to 1,000 people there already. Plus, not counting the people who are walking the aisles. So I would think that if you did a turnstile, there'd be more people in Artist Alley than autographing. So with that being said, hopefully autographing, hopefully the AC doesn't malfunction like it did last year, but we should be fine. I mean, because it was normally it holds up. It was the amount of people plus the temperature outside plus just a part breaking on the AC that led to it. So hopefully that part just doesn't break.
The love of God, yeah, Mike, just jinxing it, for God's sake. What are you doing, man? You're saying it out loud, what you're thinking.
Oh. Yes.
Look, if that's the worst thing that happens in New York Comic Con this year, I'll think we're doing okay.
Okay. Good attitude, but I like your attitude. Absolutely. You got to go into it with that kind of thing. So speaking of autographs, how are the lotteries going?
Good.
Fallon, you're a little bit closer to this than I am.
I know. So actually, this is another thing that James McNerney worked really hard on this year, and it went great. A lot of the issues that we had last year, we didn't have at all, and all the winners went out, so people were notified. I was looking actually on the NYCC Reddit yesterday, and I saw a couple of people that commented that they got nothing last year and were able to get some stuff this year. So that's what we always like to see.
I'm glad. I haven't been really following the issue because I wasn't able to do it. I was vicariously. I'm trying to get my son to get into the con, so that's his trying to get an 18-year-old to do anything is difficult these days, even if it's something he wants to do. Leonard, got any questions from the Q&A?
Yeah, we have got one or two people who are asking about the lottery system. Because we have it's something that people are still getting used to, especially when it comes to the way that the results are allocated. It kind of stems off to the similar conversation that happened at San Diego this year, that some people did very, very well and some people got nothing, and there would seem to be that way of kind of balancing between the two. We had the question on one of the fan groups. The friend won the Joker's lottery. When he signed up, he entered me as his guest, and yet I never got an email. Am I out of luck besides tapping the day of? Wants to know the answer to that question.
No, so if they assigned the friend, then the friend, I don't believe, got an email, but will still have a spot. So if they won, them and whoever they signed up with will have a spot in a reservation of the lottery. We also have on the lottery's page an email address. So if you just want to confirm just for ease of mind, you can shoot them an email and our customer service team will get back to you. But they shouldn't worry, they will have a spot in the lottery.
Excellent stuff. Good news for them. And also the question coming in on the Q&A, this is from Tor Hatlan, about the lotteries for Funko and the signings panels. How are these allocated? I know some people got 2 or 3 wins, while many got none. Just wanted a little bit of transparency or clarification on that, please. Yeah,
I mean, it is a lottery, so it's drawn at random. So some people have really good luck, and some people, which is usually me, because I've never won this stuff when I used to attend NYCC as a fan either, don't have as good luck. But we do try to get everyone included, and sometimes it's the luck of the draw. But it is the reason why we had everyone kind of rate on a scale of what they wanted to, because we do want to try to get everyone into the thing that they want to see the most. But it is random, so so we do the best. But I think that rating scale helped, and hopefully in the future we can continue to improve to try to get at least everyone into one thing.
Out of the lottery systems that I've seen at cons, it is the best way to kind of get that allocation to people. So I certainly appreciate it. We've also got a question regarding when people can receive lottery announcements and those allocations, seeing as some people have been receiving their emails within the last 24 hours. Are all the announcements out now, or could people still be looking in their inbox and with some anticipation?
So they did start going out on Friday afternoon, and it does take a few hours to get them out. I believe they started going out around 3:30 or 4 is when people will have started to see them. They should all be out by now, right. But we do have some people. So it was in the lottery for the people who won. It said, if for whatever reason you won and you don't want to attend this anymore, then please let us know so we can give it to someone else. So I have a feeling that in the last 24 hours, that's the emails that are going out, is someone saying, hey, I don't want to go anymore. So us allocating it to another fan. So there's potential that could happen. I wouldn't expect it's on a very large scale, because most people do want to keep their winnings. If they signed up, typically it's because they wanted it. But if something does happen, then, oh, there's the bearded dragon. Oh, sorry, I got distracted.
We have a guest.
It's, it's tradition. We have to have pets.
Well, I mean, Fallon's got a pupper somewhere around. We've got Mike who's got a pupper around somewhere. I've just got 2 ninja cats. The thing about ninjas, if you can see a ninja, they're a bad ninja. I have no idea where they are. So
this guy was just having a fit in the tank, so I was worried he was going to make a lot of noise. So is there a place, to Fallon, to get back to the lotteries, is there a place people can go in their online account and double check to see whether or not they've won something, just in case something got shooted into a spam folder or blocked? I know Hotmail is an issue.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you go into your fan verification hub, that's showclicks.com/my-tickets/login. If I got that right. They'll be able to see their winnings in there. And again, we do have an email address. So if you are concerned about anything, feel free to shoot us an email and we'll make sure someone gets back to you.
Okay. Thank you guys so much for adding the I don't want to come button.
Yeah.
that's really, because people's plans change. You don't know what the schedule is going to be like. And you don't want to do a third party signing if you've got a first tier panel that you've been accepted in. Just to get back to the Artist Alley, how is that switch going? How is Artist Alley this year? How does that look, Mike?
How does it look? How do you mean? Like, it looks great, like it always does.
In terms of, are you excited by it? I know you're a comic book guy, and it seems like you've been able to increase the number of tables in there. I know you've got you always had some fabulous talent
Yeah, the team that works on Artist Alley is the kind of two of the most hardworking people that we've got on the team right now. They and it's the same people, Leonard, who have been doing a lot of the MCM stuff over there. Like the talent in there is always great. What I think is exciting is that they, we get for 300 open tables. We have an allocation of tables for publishers and an allocation for comps. So of the 300 open tables, we get about 1,400 submissions, and the people on the team go through every single person's submission to pull out people that they might not have ever heard of before, who have interesting work, who might be on the up and up. So I think that's what makes our Artist Alley so great. Yeah, there's great names in there that people come to expect, but the amount of work that the team puts into finding kind of the next people who are going to be that up and coming, that great talent, I think is what makes our Artist Alley so great.
That sounds wonderful. Leonard?
Absolutely. I mean, certainly from what I've seen from the MCM curation process, it's off the scale. But New York Comic Con has always been, for me, the kind of the benchmark when it comes to your Artist Alley. So it's great to see that it's continuing to grow and expand. Are you mentioning about the increase in tables? Alyssa was alluding to that. Is that happening? Is that there's more people being accepted this year, or is it around the same kind of numbers?
There's more space than we had last year with the move over from 1E to 1B. So there's maybe a couple dozen more, nothing significant, but we were able to make maybe 20 or 25 people, more people happy than we had been in the past. So that's good.
Excellent stuff. Very quickly, when it comes to, just quickly go back to the lottery as well, one or two people making some comments on the Q&A, so thank you very much indeed for that. We got Super Catchick. I think it's fantastic that you let people give something up for someone else if they can't or don't want to attend. We've also got Omar Hassa saying you should set up a way to trade so that if you get your second choice, there's at least a chance to try and negotiate for your top choice. I think that would just be a whole level of administration.
We'd have to hire a whole new ReedPOP person for that role, I think.
Well, you see, this is what I suggested for, I think, for New York last year and also for San Diego as well. Organizing an area where it's almost like a trading floor, sort of like screaming post where people just sort of like just throwing passes all over the place. Just throw them into the bear pit and just leave them to it and just, yeah. If anything,
I think that becomes a security issue. Yeah.
Cool.
A pin trade, like the pin trade area.
Hey, we will have a pin trade area this year. Our merch team worked really, really hard on a bunch of really awesome pins, and they look really cool. They did one that said, "I only date villains," that has bats on it, so I'm partial to that one because I love bats and also villains. You can see my Loki wall behind me with art from Artist Alley. But so we will actually have a pin trading. We have a meetup on Sunday, and there's an exclusive pin that only NYCC staff will have. That pin you can only trade for us. It can only get from us if you have a pin from this year. So make sure you get some extra to trade. We'll be wearing them.
Always fun to watch. I mean, Star Wars Celebration was my personal favorite when we had the staff walking out with the pins, the exclusive pins out there, and effectively getting mobbed. That was entertaining to watch as well. That was cool.
Entertaining for you.
I was assaulted by a 9-year-old for one of the Death Troopers last year. It was terrible.
Did they win? Did they beat? Did they tackle?
We can't fight back.
Exactly. I mean, it's a 9-year-old. Jeez.
Good point. When it comes then to the changes that have occurred for 2019, 2018, what's been the most exciting for yourself, Mike, that you've seen, and what you feel are going to be implemented for this year?
Well, I think the launch of Anime Fest at New York Comic Con with Anime Expo is probably the biggest thing that we've been working on for some time. We found finally a really good partner, and we staffed up internally so that we can get back to, the anime event that we used to run back in 2009, 2010. So I think that's going to be the most transformative for the business in the long run. Providing, the anime distributors and publishers are never going to leave New York Comic Con, hopefully, are never going to leave New York Comic Con because it's a way for them to get exposure to a broader audience, which is really important for their business. But then being able to provide the more niche event over at Pier 94 really helps them market to their diehards and also engage with current fans. So I think of the things that we've done this year that I'm most excited for, I'm really excited to see how that goes. And early returns have been great. We've got a nice show floor. We've got a lot of different activations on the floor for people to see and do. And then we've got, we've got a good amount of people coming every day. So that's the one that I'm most excited for. Fallon can speak to what she's into, but we've been working on a whole bunch of things, some that have worked out, some that haven't, but we're excited for everybody to see what we've been doing.
Go for it, Fallon. What's been floating your boat of the changes this year?
Well, I'm a huge fan of a lot of the book content that also James works really hard on. So we do have the studio at NYCC this year. Some of it is separately ticketed, and some of it will, your NYCC badge will get you into, or you can sign up for a free ticket tier. But that's been really exciting to watch come together. We're working with Entertainment Weekly as well as MPAA on some of the content there. Taika Waititi is going to be there, who absolutely puts on some of my favorite movies. So I'm really excited about the content that's going to be over there. That's at Shop Studios, so it's not a far walk from New York Comic Con. And then we also have VRV, which is going to be at the Hudson annexes. I believe VRV is at Annex 38. And then we also will have, we haven't announced it yet, but we are putting together right now. Oh, Mike, do I know something you don't know?
Hello.
I can see you. So it's at Annex 37. Is going to be just a Star Wars fan group experience, which is going to be, or club, not group, sorry. And so a bunch of the 501st clubs are going to be over there putting together this really awesome experience for Star Wars fans. So another really cool thing that if you want to get outside the Javits and take a little bit of a stroll, because the weather is supposed to be nice, there's going to be some really awesome content over there to check out as well.
Just remind us again where that area is going to be.
So they're at the Hudson annexes on 37th and 38th Street. So it's just about a walk, couple blocks over and an avenue up.
Excellent stuff.
Fallon, was that an exclusive announcement happening on the Englishman in San Diego?
I wasn't going to blow it out of proportion, but yes, I'm chuffed about that. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
That's cool. I know that a lot of people have been talking about the studio conversations, these exclusive events. How has it been to put those together? And also, how has it been able to allocate which ones are available for badge holders and which ones are going to be ticketed? I mean, how was that arranged and organized?
I mean, if we're being honest, the stuff that is free for badge holders is just what announced latest. We were starting to get a little sensitive to people's wallets and the timing of being able to put on a paid event when there's only 5 or 6 days notice before the show. So a lot of the stuff that was just announced late last week is open for badge holders. The stuff that is the literary panels that are happening in the same venue, there is a paid tier to those, but you're also getting a copy of whatever book they're pushing right now. So it's not like there is a small upcharge just for the space and for the experience, but you're walking away with an experience, but you're also walking away with a copy of the book that they're pushing.
That makes sense, and it's also great that you're allowing that that giving back to the attendees because of the way that things have kind of fallen. I think that's a really good way of giving back to the attendees. Speaking of last-minute panel announcements, I know that you do your best to continue to add more content even up to these final few days, up to the deadline. Is there anything still in the planning stage which people will need to keep an eye on, like major events, or are all the major pieces of the convention in some kind of place now?
I think the major stuff is done. There's a couple, I was on the programming schedule last night, and there's a couple that are still marked in red, which means they haven't been announced, but nothing, nothing at MSG, nothing at Hammerstein, so none of the big TV or film stuff. I think that you're going to start to see some activations being announced in the next couple of days. So studio partners or other sponsors will start to release their plans for the show. And if everything that people are talking about actually comes through, there's going to be some really cool experiences for ticket holders and non-ticket holders in and around the city, in and around the Javits Center and the Hudson Yards area. So I'm hopeful that these things continue to lock in, but you'd be amazed at how much of the stuff happens at the last minute and is still being negotiated. It's kind of always white knuckles this last weekend.
I'm not surprised at all.
Right.
So I will just say, if Mr. Robot does an offsite this year, well, I guess they're not going to, but you know, that was the highlight of last year of the offsites for me. I know for some people it was another Westworld show, but you know, there you go.
Well,
I do
fun fact about that, they were nominated for an Emmy for it.
and they should be. It was an amazing offsite. I do have one other kind of touchy question about changes this year. Have there been any changes to gender bathroom issues? I just had to bring this up since it was such an issue and talked about quite a bit last year. Just the disparity between the amount of people waiting for the women's room versus waiting for the men's room. I wondered if you flipped more bathrooms over this year. I know this is, you know, nuts and bolts compared to panels, but it goes to the experience that the women have during the convention.
Yeah, so last year, if you remember, so inside the Javits Center, there's not a whole lot that we can do. We have our gender-neutral restrooms. We have the an equal amount of men's and women's rooms, and it's very hard for us to work with the building to get to flip those. One thing that we do have that's different than last year was I don't know if you remember, but on the inner roadway, so the outside portion, once you've gone through security, there was a big fancy like bathroom, like just a bathroom trailer that would come in, and it looked good and it was nice, but it only could fit like 6 people at any given moment. So I think we're upwards of 25 to 30 porta potties in that inner roadway space now. So not the classiest means of relieving yourself, but hopefully it will be effective. So we heard people, and we've added what we can outside, but inside it's difficult for us to make any changes, especially given our desire to have as many gender neutral restrooms as possible.
And speaking of outside, how many food trucks are there? Echoing a question that we're getting.
Yeah, I think there's 5 or 6 outside, and then I think there's 2 or 3 that are going to be up at Anime Fest. So this, at least what we had last year, probably plus 2 more if everything goes the way I think it's going to go.
Because
there's some on the food guide.
What was that, Fallon?
I said there's some listed on the food guide, so you can see what's going to be there. It'll say whether it's inside or outside of the Javits. I kept the food guide as like inside the Javits or for the food trucks, so you can see them on there too.
It sounds good. Because food and bathrooms, they're kind of.
Tell you what, Fallon, I'll put that to you then. This is a question that came in on a couple of the fan pages and also on our Q&A as well, regarding the app and how that is updated. Because 1 or 2 people have been finding 1 or 2 items that have taken their time to be added to the app this time round. What's the kind of the timetable if any changes do get implemented to be added to the app?
Yeah, so as soon as they're updated on the website, they will sync to the app, but there's sometimes it's immediate and sometimes it takes a little bit to crawl because we have a back system. It's called Nova, not that it means anything to anyone, but you enter stuff in there and it's Mike's making a noise because it's really not the best.
No, this is riveting podcasting right now. We're talking about Nova.
I know. But anyway, so that sometimes takes a while to crawl to the website and then crawl to the app. So we do try to get everything updated as quickly as possible. And we do have some audits happening this weekend and on Monday to make sure it's the most updated information in the app. But on site, we usually try to get things updated immediately because we know it's such a quick turnaround time for people to find out about them.
Fair enough. I mean, we will talk about Nova for the next 15 minutes, if that's okay.
Speaking of updates, you guys handle the SDC, the NYCC lines, right? That Twitter handle. Mm-hmm. I saw that it's being reactivated for this year. Are you handling this personally, Fallon?
So I handled updating that, and I tweeted out our first tweet, but for this year. But we will have someone on site who's really awesome from our marketing team who will be inside. Unfortunately, they have to sit in a room all day, but they'll be inside working with our team via text messaging and kind of the communication that we use to make sure we're providing the most up-to-date information on lines around the building. and on our offsite venues as well.
That was such a massive resource last year. That was so useful.
And so what is that hashtag again, or what is the Twitter?
So it's at NYCC Lines. They'll use that hashtag. They'll also use the NYCC hashtag because most people use that one.
It must follow. Everybody must follow.
I'm glad to hear that. Like, I never get a sense for whether or not people care about that because there's 6,300 followers, so it's good to hear that people are using it. And then a lot of that information that we push out through NYCC Lines is also used as a push notification through the app. So we just want people to be informed and not want to take a 12 or 15 minute walk to MSG because they think or they assume that the Hellboy 2 panel is capped.
Exactly. I mean, that was the biggest feedback that I was getting on my small Twitter feed last year was just the updates on the lines and the main hall, Q hall, whether or not it was worth going down to the Q hall to get into a panel for later on that day, so that even if the NYCC Lines goes in there and takes a snapshot of that huge board you guys have got, that was a huge resource, I know, for a bunch of people too. I know that, and that gets that Twitter guy out of the room for a few minutes. It gives him an opportunity to take a walk.
Absolutely.
Right, we've got a couple of loose questions at that have been coming in, like I say, through the various posts out to for responses and questions. We have got Super Cat Chick, who's asking, I haven't heard anything from Alpha Geek and Sundry having a presence this year. Are they attending in 2018? And if so, where will people be able to find them?
I don't think Geek and Sundry is going to be there. Crit Roll is there via Nerdist, but I don't think there's anything specific for Geek and Sundry unless they have a panel that I'm not aware of.
Fair enough. We've also got a question from Lauren Dayup asking, is there a reason why those with press, pro, and industry badges can only qualify the lottery for just panels and not exclusives and autographs? Please.
Yeah, that's a question that we grapple with a lot. First of all, just technologically, they're on different systems, so it's more work than it seems like it would be. I think the overwhelming perception has always been that the exclusives are more sought after by fans, and if you're there for work, if you're there as a publishing professional, if you're there as a librarian or an educator, you're spending your time furthering your craft and not necessarily staying in line. However, as I've heard from Lauren and I've heard from a number of different people, they're fans too, and we're all fans. I would love to enter the Funko lottery myself, but I think it's something we need to reevaluate because it is a common question that we get. It's just something that we haven't broached yet. So hopefully in 2019 that we'll have a better system that can better incorporate everybody who has a badge, not just people who have purchased their badges.
Fair enough. And believe it or not, I think that's most of the questions that we've got that have come in. Actually, we did have a question just at I think I skipped this at the top before, but sorry about this, regarding cosplay. This is a clarification of the rules for cosplay regarding weapons, because I know that it was something that you implemented last year. Just checking that is still something in place in terms of fake weapons and also guides for any particular cosplays to kind of avoid as such. Is that something that's still in place at NYCC this year?
Yep, for admission into the Javits, the policies are the same as they were last year. Nothing new is added. Nothing has been taken away or gotten more lenient on. And security and the weapons policy are one of the few things that I apologize for. Our biggest concern is keeping everybody that's at that building safe. So unfortunately, if it means me taking away someone's bow and arrow, I don't have a whole lot of I do have sympathy, but I it's not a difficult decision for us to make. So my focus, our team's focus when we get to the show is making sure that everybody gets into the building in an orderly fashion and is safe. So yeah, that's my answer to that.
It makes sense, and I don't think it's anything that you need to apologize for, quite frankly. It's something that makes sense. It's something that needs to take place.
Speaking of cosplay, is there a room where cosplayers can change?
Oh yeah, Fallon, you take that one.
Sure. So we actually have an entire area for cosplay this year that's dedicated to cosplayers, both ones who are new to cosplay and our vets to cosplay. So there's Cosplay Central, which will have programming and changing rooms in the River Pavilion, which is on the fourth floor. So that'll be the escalators that go up in between the two entrances of the show floor for the Javits Center, the two main entrances on the third floor. So they'll head right up to the River Pavilion. There will be changing rooms, and we can't stress enough, do not change in the bathroom, change in the changing rooms.
Thank you.
Do not change in the bathroom.
Let's repeat that one more time. Do not change in the bathroom. Okay.
That is what creates lines to bathrooms. Do not change in bathrooms.
Is there a cosplay repair? I assume there's going to be a cosplay repair corner up there too.
And Sci-Fi will be back as well. So they usually have a station too that they bring.
Okay.
They are fantastic. They really do a cracking job of that. And I think to wrap things up, just one more question. This is from Sarita P. What time will you be letting people into the queue hall? Is a question from her.
Same as we've done in the past few years. I believe it's when our staff is in place between 7:45 and 8. So that's when we let people into the queue hall.
Excellent stuff. And like I say, I think that is pretty much it for our questions that have come in. For the people who are watching, and also that we've been getting in contact, which is good. We've got everything sorted this year. We usually miss something out, so it's rather handy that we've managed to get everything sorted. But I think everyone's looking forward to. I mean, the anticipation for this show is just off the scale this year. It's just everyone's just really excited, especially when it comes to the activations, especially to the off-site stuff. Hammersign and MSG, they're really looking forward to seeing what you bring. Is there anything that you are particular looking out for checking out at some point this upcoming weekend?
I have a list. I have a list of things that I want to see. I always enjoy. I mean, I'm really into seeing Doctor Who and the response of the fans to Jodie and to that whole the premiere. The Walking Dead. Always just being there at the beginning when they announce the cast and the cast comes on stage. I just love seeing that audience pop. That's always one of my favorite things to do. My stroll through Artist Alley to pick up my few prints and books that I need to do. And then I'm excited to spend a little bit of time over at Anime Fest and over at Studio. Those are two things that our team has worked incredibly hard on this year. So it's always fulfilling for myself and for everybody who's worked so hard on them to go out there and see the fruits of everyone's collective labor. So that's what I'm pumped for.
Cool. And yourself, Fallon, is there anything that you're going to keep your eyes open for?
Yeah, so I love Boy Meets World, so I'm so excited that they're going to be there this year. Corey and Topanga are my OTP, so I'm looking forward to that. And then also the Twilight. I'm such a Twilight girl, but there's a Twilight anniversary panel that's happening. They haven't announced the guests yet, so I'm really excited to see who's going to be on that. And then as you can see behind me, I have a Loki wall, so also my stroll through Artist Alley to see if I can find any more Loki prints to add to my collection.
Excellent stuff. Brilliant. Like I say, I think everyone's really excited about this show, and I'm looking forward to hopefully having somebody boots on the ground who's going to beam in and kind of give us a bit of a live report. It's a shame that I can't make it again.
One of these years.
It's killing me, man. But my preparations for MCM this year have kind of taken precedence because, like we've talked already, London is just off the scale for Comics Village talent for this year. Hopefully, I will impress on the panels enough for ReedPOP to consider flying me over to panel host at New York Comic Con in future events.
Well, that wraps up the program for today, everyone. Thanks for joining us on an Englishman in San Diego.
Mike.
Shameless. Listen, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure talking to you again. And yeah, have yourself an amazing show, guys.
Thank you.
Best of luck.
Wish you guys could be there.
Thank you so much.
For a safe show, an event-free show.
Thank you.
A negative event-free show.
Yes.
Touch wood. Here we go. Right, there we go. Guys, we'll let you get off and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Excellent.
Bye, Fallon. Bye, Mike.
Bye.
Take care. So there we go. If you are heading to New York Comic Con, do keep us informed with what you're getting up to. Share them with us at an Englishman in San Diego, Englishman SDCC on the Twitter. But we'll share with everyone else and let everyone know how you're getting on. So do keep us informed and spread as many photos as you possibly can, because we'll be enjoying the show vicariously through you. Oh, I know, it's killing me. It's absolutely killing me.
Here. I would, after being there for, going to New York Con for years, I'm just, it's like missing San Diego.
I know.
San Diego Comic Con it's the same thing, totally different vibe, but oh my.
Yeah.
Oh my.
I mean,
I'm
for myself, this would be year 3 that I was offered a press badge. And I received a press badge 2 years ago and last year. I had them mailed to me, and then I wasn't able to go. I wasn't able to get the finances, or things just didn't fall in place. This year was the case of, you know what, guys, give it to somebody who can use it. So no, I just all you can do is just fingers crossed that maybe one day I'll be able to get across. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
do. I know that you've got somebody, Leonard has got somebody who's on site who's going to be reporting for you. I know that the forum, the blog, FOCC blog, has also got somebody on site who's reporting for us. Our editor-in-chief, Kevin Whalen, is going to be there. He's big into the TV stuff, so we'll be getting a lot of panels. He'll be getting a lot of feedback and updates on shows that are coming up through them. Anything in particular you got planned? Englishman has got planned for coverage?
No, at this point, I think Dan is just going out and just cutting loose. Well, the thing is, as part of the new site, basically I'm giving him his own little corner of the website. It's the sandbox, and he can put whatever he likes in there. So he's not being directed at all. He can whatever catches his attention. So whatever he's up for doing it. So that's cool. I think also something that I want to talk about before we do wrap things up is very quickly talking about CCI. And they're ramping up their social media, especially looking forward to pre-reg coming up imminently. It is all about the comments that have been going out, and the tweets that have been going out have been about pre-reg and about people getting prepared for pre-reg. I know that the unofficial blog that they had their soothsayer, they had James saying that he felt it was going to happen on the 20th. But I think with this ramping up, we may be seeing sooner than that. What's been the chatter like on the forum? And also,
we're kind of really thinking it's going to be on the 13th
wow,
of
really
October. Yeah, that's kind of what people are saying. Personally, I'm thinking that they might give an additional week between New York Comic Con and the ticket sale, simply so that people, CCI staff members who go to New York Comic Con can get a chance to come back and get things sorted and settled. Who knows? But I will say that CCI has been giving us a good 10 days notice. So I think the days of having to wait until Wednesday or Thursday before the weekend to plan are over with. I think that we can get, at least a week's notice these days before we've got to clear the books for a Saturday. But all plans during October and November, early November, on Saturday, they need to be with that caveat, unless CCI makes an announcement.
Fair enough. No, it makes sense. We've got Super Cat Chick. Anything after the 12th would be fine by me. I just need a paycheck after New York Comic Con. I feel
exactly.
You. I totally understand that.
And that was the second part of what I was trying to say about why I think it's going to be a little bit, because paychecks, sensitivity to us fans, both New York and both ReedPOP and CCI are very sensitive to that, and I see no reason why they wouldn't continue that.
Sure. Dan Berry is also reminding us that Emerald City Comic-Con badge sales are soon as well. So that's just around the corner. All of these cons, all of these shows that are taking place. Speaking of which, in 2 weeks' time, I will only be attending on the Sunday, but I will be attending the Lakes International Comics Arts Festival, which is where we'll be bringing the show from on the 16th. Let's see, what else am I getting up to? Yeah, next week we will be having a preview of that show. So we'll hopefully be having guests, which will be Julie Tate, and also hopefully one or two of the programming people from the Lakes who are going to be joining us next week to talk about that show. So to wrap things up, thank you very much indeed for joining us today. Alyssa, where can people find you online? I know that you're very rarely online now because you're just so busy with schoolwork and getting settled in San Diego. So yeah, but where can people find you online?
My Twitter handle is really not being monitored. If I monitor anything, it's my personal Twitter handle, and you will get some politics on there because of the events of this past period of time. We'll just go, we'll leave it at that. Regardless, so that is at Alyssa Franks, but the blog's Twitter handle is at FOCC blog, and that's probably going to be the most active source of communication for us through New York Comic Con. There is obviously going to be a huge presence on the forum. There's a large series of threads about events that'll be happening. And hey, where can I do this? What are you guys up to? What about, and our exclusives area, AZT has done a fabulous job, I'm sure, just like you've done, putting together all of the exclusives that are going to be there. I have to say, I was really kind of laughing at Mike Armstrong saying that he would love to get a Funko ticket. Did you catch that?
I did.
Yeah. I was like, you can't even get a Funko ticket. Oh, Mike.
I know. I mean, working with MCM and finding out that they are almost as in the air as we are, I have every sympathy for the guys. At the end of the day, they absolutely give it to the fans, so they don't take many perks for themselves. So that's cool. No, we're looking forward to seeing the coverage on Friends of Comic Con Forum. As for myself and on the new site, we are going to be delaying the launch of the site for a week, purely because I have been under the weather. I've also had one or two health issues being dealt with here in the house with one or two of my family members, and also some technical issues as well. So we're just delaying it a little bit. We are doing a soft open as of the next couple of days to allow Dan to get some stuff up and also get some things posted and just get everything settled. But I suspect it's going to be more of a doors open and an incomplete site being there. It's just going to get developed over time, but we're going to work on it. So
Dan just posted on the chat that Emerald City Comic-Con tickets will go on sale Wednesday on the 17th. October 17th. That's right smack between the time frame that we're talking about CCI tickets. So yeah, we need that paycheck, guys.
Tell me about it. Yeah. Okay.
Putting it out there.
Cool. Right, so next week then is going to be our preparing show for Lakes, and then we'll be doing a show from the Lakes. Yeah, we've got plenty of other guests lined up over the course of the next couple of months, so do stick with us, and hopefully you'll continue to watch and support us as well. I usually do a post-show, after-show for Patreon supporters. That show's not going to be happening today because, well, from here, I've now got to rush off to Leeds bus station to pick up the other half who's coming back from Cardiff. So priorities, unfortunately, that's the way that works. However, I will be doing a broadcast for Patreon supporters in the next couple of days. So if you are a supporter, keep your eye on your inbox, and I'll certainly try and give you a bit of advance warning of when I'll be doing that so we can all come together and have a bit of a chat. Do support us at patreon.com/EnglishmanSDCC. And of course, you can find us on all the social medias at EnglishmanSDCC. And that is where you'll be able to find the URL when I launch it for the new site in the next couple of days. So there we go. That's us.
Good luck.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Hope you've enjoyed it. Back again next week for another Talking Con, a cup of tea with an Englishman in San Diego. From us, from me, from Melissa, we'll We'll see you soon. Take care.
Bye-bye, guys. Have a nice week.